In this video we're going to cover a procedure that we need to follow when you want to clean the mirrors and lens and basically maintain the machine in the parts which requires maintenance from time to time. So the first thing we're going to explain is cleaning the lens, and for that we need to just turn off the machine and just move the laser head somewhere accessible and move the table also down to just create enough space. And then on top side of the laser head there is two brass thumb screws. If we just open this thumb screws and release the lens tube holder, we can slide it down like that, and then from here we can unscrew the lens tube holder from the air nozzle. So in some cases you could also unscrew the laser tube first like that, right, before just taking out, because sometimes sliding out like that, it can stress out the air assist connection. So in this place, after we release the thumb screws, the brass thumb screws, we can unscrew the lens tube holder in place and then release the air assist nozzle and slide down the lens tube holder. So when we look at the lens tube holder from inside, you can see the lens inside, and there is a screw ring which holds down the lens in place. And for opening this screw, there is a tool inside the toolbox. It's just a piece of rectangular steel that can fit inside the slots of this ring screw, and you can open it like that. And it's just very important that you shouldn't touch the surface of the lens, because you don't want to scratch the lens. You can open it like that. So this is a ring screw, you can put it aside, and there is a small rubber washer underneath. You can use a small needle or a sharp tool just very carefully, without just touching the surface of the lens. And take out this rubber washer as well, and then you just take out the lens like that. This is a lens, is breakable. You don't want to drop it down. You just can clean it with cotton and rubbing alcohol and dry it out with the same cotton, like a dry cotton. And then when you want to put it back, there is two sides on this lens. One is concave side and one is convex side, which is a curve up both sides. So the concave side goes facing inside the lens tube holder. So the convex side facing outside, and then you put back the washer, and you don't want to touch the lens when you put it back with your finger. And you tighten the screws again unless you reach to the rubber washer. You don't want to tighten it too much, just as long as it touches, squeezes the rubber washer a little bit, would be fine. And then you put back the lens, slide in inside, and then just hold down the air assist nozzle and screw and attach it to the lens holder tube. And you don't want to just press it very up, and you push it very down. You just put it in the place which this air assist tube is just in a relaxed position, and then you just tighten those two brass screws. So these screws are just for adjusting the laser beam, so you don't want to touch these, otherwise the laser beam alignment will go out of adjustment, and it will affect your cutting quality. So the same as the same screws, you can find it on the mirrors here. So for cleaning the mirrors, there is one mirror on top of the lens, and it's got the same kind of ring screws. You can open it up with the same tool and just using a piece of Q-tip or something that can won't scratch the lens. In this case I use a piece of plastic, and I take out the mirror like that, and I clean it with the same rubbing alcohol and cotton, and just put back the mirror again. Make sure it just stays flat in place. There is no rubber washer here. You just screw back the ring same way you opened it, and again you don't want to tighten it too much. As long as it holds down the mirror would be enough. For the other two mirrors, which is on the left side of the laser head, and there is one exactly in the front of the laser tube, you don't need to open them because the surface is exposed. You can clean them in place with cotton and rubbing alcohol and dry it up. And basically if you have a clean environment, you don't have very dust outside, and if you're cleaning, if you're processing clean materials like acrylic, you don't need much cleaning after the period which is required for cleaning a lens and mirrors. In this case would be around like once every 10 days or 2 weeks. But if you're doing some sort of wood basically has some kind of residue and sticky stuffs which can stick to the lens and mirrors, so you have to clean it more often, suppose every maybe like 4 or 5 days if you continue cutting. And basically you can see the dust inside the machine. If it's a lot of dust, that means the same dust can go through the same hole and sits on the lens or on the mirror. So for the rails, you just don't need to do much. You just can clean them with anti-rust WD-40, which you can get it pretty much in every hardware store, and just clean it up with a piece of cloth, and maybe you can rub some sort of white grease by your finger on the rails, and that would be sufficient for maintaining the rails. The belts also needs some cleaning from time to time. You can use the same WD-40, just spray it into the cloth and just clean the belts to keep them accurate for your operation. Another part of the machine which can be clean is under the table, because this particular machine doesn't have a collector beam, so the cut pieces can just drop down from the corners of the table under the table. So for that you just need to open the front door or the side left door and just vacuum the parts underneath. And also there's a belt for the table movement. You can do the cleaning the same way which you did clean for X and Y. It's the same type of belt underneath. You can see it when you open the front door, and you can clean them from time to time. And that would be all for maintaining and cleaning the laser machine.